What's going on? I'm just saying, family, back with another episode. Episode four, I believe, is starting to stack up. College basketball is starting to really get into its prime, its peak, man. How you doing, Will?
Doing well, Jeremiah. A tough stretch of basketball here for
Man,
Tennessee.
terrible.
Three straight losses, and it felt like 2 weeks ago this was a team that was going to be in the Final Four conversation after the win against Houston, and since then it has been a far cry from that. So another upsetting, frustrating episode today to break down another loss, but hopefully we will provide some insight to how the Vols can get it done against Louisville on Tuesday.
Yeah, man. Like you said, I don't think we've had just like a full, like, man, we're happy for Tennessee basketball episode just yet. I thought it would have turned around. Obviously, we knew that Illinois was a good team, but I thought things would have turned around, and it looked to be in the first half. But yeah, Tennessee sports, they always get us in the first half. Then the second half, the true Tennessee comes out. So yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the things we talked about last week were not evident on Saturday once again, and it's just like someone's got to change. And there are a couple of new storylines that I want to bring up, and we'll talk about them a little bit later. But um, I think you're starting to learn a lot about this team. I think this team is still learning about itself, but the problem is this is a really significant time of the season right before out of conference play. They'll tip off in about 25 days against Arkansas to begin SEC play. But right now, you're trying to get these really important out of conference wins, and these are the type of games that could dictate a seed line here. And you're dropping them, and you've got to find a way to nab a big one at home. But we'll talk. We can talk about Illinois first.
yeah. I think before we get into it, I think Tennessee needs a wake up call. I don't know what it's going to be. You would have thought, okay, we dropped Kansas. You would have thought Syracuse was the wake up call. We're gonna come out here and handle business, especially, and not a home court matchup, not a home court advantage, but right down the road in Nashville and Bridgestone, you would have thought with all those fans and all the orange, the Vols orange that you saw in there, that they would have got it done and they would have had the full momentum. But things didn't happen and it didn't go the way that they were supposed to. So. But getting into it though, I think overarching themes that I saw, Nate and Gillespie. I keep going back to Amen and Gillespie every episode, I believe, because like I said, man, that's the engine. Your car can't run without your engine.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the engine, and they're not playing well. Nate had another rough game, which we expected with these good teams. These good teams were going to make Nate play. He went 4 for 14. He kind of cleaned up the turnovers. He only had two turnovers compared to his seven that he had against Syracuse, but he had 9 points on 4 for 14 shooting. Gillespie, in a box score wise, 15, 5, and 5 doesn't sound too bad, but when you look at it, when he took 20 shots, only made six, and he took 9 3-pointers, only made three. That shows you like the length and physicality got at him that Illinois threw at him because he saw a lot of looks. They were blitzing him off every screen. Every time he penetrated, he saw two to three bodies beside him. He was kicking them out, but the guys just weren't making the threes. So I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, let's start off with the good because I think there is a positive in every game. Despite it being another loss, I think there are some positive. I thought you rebounded really well on the offensive glass, season best 23 boards.
Yeah.
And we knew coming into this was going to be a lengthy Illinois team. And you bring down 23 on the offensive end. So I thought that was pretty impressive. You mentioned Gillespie, 15 points. I think that's a productive night from him. But when you look at those shooting percentages, not where you want him to be. But I think he's done a good job over the last couple of games, despite not being that impactful as a scorer as he was against Rutgers. He's still a really good playmaker in terms of a passer. Another, game high in assist in this one. So um, I thought that was a positive. I think when you look at the overall tally on the glass, you hold Illinois to a 15-point deficit. You win that 46-31. And we know that this Tennessee interior presence is really, really good. And I think they've showcased that. And it's been present in every game. And then also defensively, you hold Illinois to, a couple of tough shots, but overall they shoot 40% from three. So a couple of those shots are just good players hitting, that's just them hitting good shots. Sometimes you can make a really good closeout, sometimes you can do it all, but it just happens to go in the hoop. And that's what you're going to get from a team like Illinois that likes to shoot the three ball 30 times a game. But I thought the difference here was, yeah, you had some good production down low, and that's the positive. We'll now get into the negatives. Gillespie's your only scorer in double digits.
Terrible.
Nate Ament goes for 9 points. Amaree Abram goes 8. Bishop Boswell goes with 7. Now, Boswell did have a Cove team best 7 rebounds, but you didn't get the type of production necessary. You look on the other side, Avicic goes 16 points. Boswell goes 15 points.
Yep.
Merkovich, a freshman forward, goes worth 10 points. Like, they got balanced production. I think that's the big difference here. And when you look at all of Tennessee's losses so far, that is the big. The other teams are getting equal production, and you're kind of relying on two guys. One guy that's established in college basketball, one guy that's trying to figure out his footing, and a really good post presence. That sounds like 1970s basketball, where you're having to rely on guys down low. So I think that's the issue right now. And we talked about this at the beginning of the season. Who are going to be those shooters? What are the lineups going to look like? I love the depth that Tennessee has down low, but right now that can't be your main source of offense. It cannot be your main source of offense in 2025. So I think that's the big issue right now, just in terms of schematics. Like, the offensive group that you put out there is not going to be productive enough. And I have a couple of options of maybe some new lineups that we could see that can maybe help that. But just focusing on this game right now, I think that's the big difference. Like, you're just going up against teams that are getting better production across the board than you are. And while there are some positives on the glass for Tennessee, it's the same issues that we've seen the last 3 games where you're just not getting that type of production necessary.
I mean, I want to go back to your point about the 1970s basketball thing. I think since I've been in Tennessee, since we've been in Tennessee, there's been a thing about Barnes being in the past with his teams, whether that's recruiting or the type of offense. I know I said it a lot last year. Hey, the same set over and over and over again is not going to work. They can't just run baseline and curl up. That's all Tennessee basketball does. That's all the offensive sets look like. But when
Mm-hmm.
you look at other teams, Blue Bloods, other SEC teams, other even Illinois, other really good teams that have great sets that they run to. Yes, they go back to some old sets, but they have great sets, great offensive plays that can call. They look different every play that Tennessee doesn't know how to keep up with.
Yeah.
But with the Vols, everybody knows, hey, they're going to do this pin down for Gillespie, they're going to do this pin down for Nate, and he's going to get the on ball screen PNR action. All we got to do is play help side, make him take tough shots.
Mm-hmm.
When that's the formula, when 1+1 = 2,
Yeah.
an elementary school kid is going to figure out how to stop that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that has been a big problem with Barnes is not going to get enough guys that can handle the ball. They can go get their own type of bucket. Because like you said, they have 4 players in double figures, 3 players
Mm-hmm.
scoring 15 or more. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But Tennessee has one guy with 15 and nobody else is over double digits. You're not going to win a basketball game like that. No matter how good of a defense you have on your team, you're never going to win a basketball game like that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go back to something that you said. It's the same problem as Tennessee always has. I think Tennessee, I don't remember the last time they won the turnover battle. I'm not gonna lie. They had 13 turnovers
I think you
to
might have won it slightly. I think
against.
you might have won it slightly against Syracuse. I think it was 17-16.
Okay,
Does that
okay.
sound right?
That may be true. I think both teams did turn the ball
But it
over.
was, but it wasn't like a big margin per
It's
se.
not a margin.
You know?
Why are the Vols not taking care of the basketball? I think that's a really big question to answer. What is going on where the careless turnovers are happening?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, poor dribbling is happening where defenders are stealing it. What's going on? I don't think that's a very characteristic of a Rick Barnes team, especially because he's an old school guy. Now, I know old school coaches like that
Yeah.
don't like turnovers, don't like giving up possessions. So why on earth are the Vols continuing to average over 10 turnovers a game? I don't really know what's going on in that area. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think it directly correlates into what I'm about to propose, and that's in terms of new lineups because I don't think you have a secondary ball handler.
No,
I don't think you have a secondary scoring option,
you don't.
at least on the perimeter. At least on the
Yeah,
perimeter, I think Nate Ament could be that one day, but he's not that right now.
yeah,
And even outside of that, let's take Gillespie and Ament out of the equation here. Who do you trust at all on the perimeter right now? No one. I don't. But you also don't trust anyone with the ball in their hands. Like Boswell, maybe, but Ethan Berg is a turnover machine. I'm tired of watching him, and he's not a guy that's going to get you. Like you brought him over as a guy that used to play overseas professionally, hoping that he'd have a little bit of composure, be able to get you into your offensive sets. He's not able to do that. So that the turnover issue, I think, is a direct correlation of not having another guy that's going to draw a lot of attention on the perimeter. So here's my proposal. You go Ja'Kobi Gillespie at one, Bishop Boswell two, Amaree Abram three, Nate Ament four, and then go Felix Akpara or JP Estrella and just run that as your group from now on. Like you
okay,
go away from like basically just playing Ament at the four because we've seen him at the three. We've seen sets of where you go like a Phillips and an Akpara or an Estrella. I think right now just where this offense is, I get Ament close to the basket um, because he is going to have a matchup advantage in a lot of these games, just in terms of size. Maybe not the physicality, but in terms of size, I think he's unique enough to where he could take some of these guys off the dribble. Or we've seen him multiple times, both in exhibitions and during the season. He likes kind of that baseline shot. I think getting him involved that way could be a good start. I think getting him involved in off ball sets would be a good start because you've got to find some way to draw some form or fashion of attention. And I do worry if Ament is quick enough to get
yeah.
into those off ball sets, like come off a screen quick enough, be ready to shoot, or be able to file into the corner, whatever it may be. But like, I feel like that's your best chance. Like, at least you've got like two and a half or like two shooters, and we'll give half an Ament, half an Abram, and then Gillespie's obviously one. But like teams have started pressing up on him. Like teams have started realizing, okay, this guy's a playmaker. This guy can score. We're not going to let him go for 30 points like he did against Rutgers.
Yeah.
So that's my proposed lineup right now. It'd be Gillespie, Boswell, Abram, Ament, and Akpara. And really the big change there is moving Ament to that four spot. What do you make of that?
That sounds great to me. I think small ball will definitely get out of that 1970s back to basket bigs thing that that Tennessee has been dealing with. We saw it against Syracuse and we saw it again against Illinois. These bigs they're shooting. I think that's what really killed them in the second half. The bigs got to shooting these wider because they were doing pick and pops instead of rolling to the rim
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
Akpara and Cade Phillips and JP and Carey are used to. They're bringing those big guys out beyond the perimeter and they're able to
Yeah.
make wide open trades. So I think that is definitely a great lineup. And I believe that Tennessee will be forced to be doing that with the news of Cade Phillips being out.
Yes. We haven't talked about, yes.
He had the lingering, shoulder injury that was from last year, and he was wearing the what you could characterize as freaking Winter Soldier
Yeah.
little brace or whatever. But I think he couldn't get over the pain, and it was continuing to deal with him. He kind of probably tweaked it a little bit
Mm-hmm.
against Illinois, so he's out the rest of the year with surgery. So I think they will definitely have to rotate the bigs a little bit different because it's like, man, we're down one. JP still has to ramp up from his injury. Akpara gets in foul trouble. Carey's probably our most consistent guy that we can lean on a little bit more offensively and like just being a guy that can rebound as well. So Nate, we're gonna move you down, use your size a little bit more rather than having you be a true wing and put it on the floor because his
Mm-hmm.
handle isn't as strong as I thought it was when he came into college. We're gonna have to slow and simplify his game. Let him get to that little back to basket, a little work, that little fadeaway that he likes with his left hand on the baseline, and get him a little bit more comfortable. rather than making him put it on the floor, giving him pin downs, let him get it 2 to 3 feet behind the 3-point line because that's where teams are playing him and forcing him to do it, make him put it on the ground. So I'm not gonna lie, as much as I like know that he trusts Akpar, I low key like JP playing a little bit more minutes than I would Akpar. I think JP, his ability, not even the ability, the fact that he can shoot the long ball
Mm-hmm.
a little bit better than Akpara makes me want to play him more. Because I think Akpara really jams up the paint because he's sitting like if he's not doing a screen and roll, then he's sitting in a dunker spot. And I believe that that kind of clogs Gillespie's opportunities of getting to the rim and getting to the floater and penetrating the paint because the big's just able to step over. And if
Mm-hmm.
Gillespie doesn't feel like he can throw it over the top, then Akpar is just going to be pump faking, trying to get a foul
Yeah.
on somebody. So I don't know. I like the lineup though, but I would go JP, but I don't think Barnes is going to start JP, especially because of his health. So
Yeah, look, a tough loss with Cade Phillips, but I do think if you were to lose a guy at any position on the roster, like the depth you have down low, at least like that's not an end all be all thing. Like if you lost Ja'Kobi Gillespie, like this thing's probably wrapped up.
yeah,
But
for sure.
like down low, I think you're good. Obviously you hate it for him because he's a junior. He's a guy that's played on this team for 2 seasons now, and his third, the longest tenured player on this team, I should say, is
Yeah,
Cade Phillips, which is crazy. But it is what it is, and he's dealt with that lingering issue since last January, and he's tried to play through it. Not going to be able to do anymore, and going to have surgery on Friday. So tough break for him, and hope the best for him, and hope he's able to come back. But at least pivoting back to this year, like I think JP Estrella, if he's fully healthy, like I think he should have been getting more minutes anyway. So maybe
yeah,
this is an opportunity for him. Dwayne Brown's been really good, by the way. Like
he
Dwayne
has.
Brown, give him more minutes. Like so, I think this is not necessarily as big of a negative as it may seem when you see the headline Cade Phillips out for the season. So I do think there are you know it's not an end all be all type of deal. Another thing I wanted to bring up though, leadership,
Hmm.
because Rick Barnes has talked about this over the last couple of games, prior to the game, that is, has talked about how there's a little bit of a leadership thing right now. And Amaree Abram talked about it after the loss Saturday as well, saying that, hey, I'm a senior. I've got to be more vocal. I've got to be a leader. I think leadership is an issue right now. And Zakai Ziegler and Jemai Mashak and Jordan Gainey, they were very beneficial basketball players, obviously very good. I mean, Ziegler was an all conference player. Mashak was an all defensive player. Gainey was a really good glue guy off the bench, very fundamental. Those guys were really good basketball players for this Tennessee team, but they were also really good leaders.
That's true.
And I think Barnes was kind of hinting at it after that Kansas game when Tennessee falls. He hinted at last year's team would have beat this Kansas team. They would not have overreacted to a loss like Houston or overreacted to a win against Houston. They would have come back with the same type of fire and beaten Kansas. I think he subtly hinted it at that following that game. And he has talked about it a couple more times since. I think the impact of not having guys in that locker room that have been with Barnes and been with this team for a little bit as a big time player, like Phillips has been here, but he's not necessarily ever been like a go to big time player. Outside of what Ziegler and all those guys did on the court, they were also really valuable in the locker room. And when you deal with adversity, you need guys like that. You need guys to stern you back in the right direction in game and during the stretch of a season. Like right now, when Tennessee gets down, in every game Tennessee has gone down by, more than 8 points, Tennessee has lost this season.
Yeah,
Now against Houston, you were able to climb back in that second half, and it was a really, really impressive performance. But every game since then, if you've gone down, period, you haven't won. And I think the big thing with Ziegler and guys like that is they were able to keep everyone on balance. They were able to keep everyone under control. Okay, hey, we've been here. It's okay. You play a lot of great teams in SEC basketball. You play a lot of good teams in the tournament. It's all about finding that balance and guiding your way. I mean, that UCLA game got a little bit dicey early on. Now, Tennessee was able to have a strong end of the first half, going back to last year's tournament, that
Yeah.
is. But it was a
Mhm.
little bit dicey in that first half. They stayed the course. They ended up having a really strong end of the first half, came out of the second half, blew the thing out of the water. Like, there were moments where Tennessee was tested last year. They would always do a really good job of responding. So far, this Tennessee team has not done a good job responding. And I don't think there's a really go-to leader on this team. Akpara is not necessarily that vocal leader. Gillespie is a guy that was on that Crab Five team at Maryland last year, but that was more of a collection of guys that have played along with each other and formed that chemistry over time. Nate Ament's your second best player, at least on the roster heading into the season. And he's a guy that's listening still, not being vocal. And that shouldn't be his role. But you know what I'm saying here? Like, that's a guy that's trying to learn as the year goes on. So I think the thing right now is identifying leadership on top of all the other things we talk about in terms of schematics and how you're going to get into your offense, where you're going to find shooters, who's going to be that off ball defender, there's going to be off ball ball handler, I should say, whatever it may be, you need to find a leader regardless. And I think this Tennessee team lacks that right now.
Yeah, while you were talking, I'm thinking, I'm like, man, who could possibly be the guy to step up and lead? And I think the only answer could be Ja'Kobi Gillespie.
I think it's got to be, or Boswell, but like, just Boswell demand. Like, I don't know if Boswell's there yet. Like, but I think Gillespie's like at least the guy that's been at a lot of places already and been one of the guys there. Like, like some guys like that can command that sort of attention. Like, Connect became that leader, but I
Yeah.
think it was a leader because he was alongside a Ziegler and a Meshack and those, and, Josiah Jordan James, guys like that. So I think it has to be Gillespie.
Yeah, it's because it's like, well, he's your point guard, he's your main ball handler, and also he's your best player on your team, he's your best scorer. So it's like somebody has to light the fire. That's why I was saying earlier, I thought the Syracuse game was gonna be a team wake up call, a team, okay, our season can turn for the
Mm-hmm.
worse right now if we don't get things
Yeah.
together because there's no way in the world we can drop four in a row. Because Illinois is a good team, but Louisville is an even better team.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we played them at home, but they're still a great team to play against before non-con ends. So it's like we dropped four in a row. We no telling how many we dropped when SEC play starts
Yeah.
because all these guys are really good. All of them are really good. So at what point at what point does the Vols do like do we have a player only meeting? No Rick Barnes. Does like I don't know. Do we need a retreat? Like what is it? I don't really get it. I don't really understand what the Vols can do differently besides, like you said, light the fire, get the wake up call. Hey guys, are we going to be a mediocre team? Which by the way, I have no idea how Tennessee is still ranked after three straight losses. However, I guess that the Houston win did carry them a long way. Um, but hey guys, we can't drop four in a row. We got two fluff games right before conference play starts, but we got Arkansas as soon as it starts. And Arkansas is no
Mm-hmm.
pushover.
Yeah.
Then we gotta face a Florida team who's gonna be hungry because Florida's only losing against
Yeah.
top
Yeah.
five teams. So we got guys they're going to be hungry, ready to beat us. Who are we going to be when we get punched in the mouth? Because you're getting more than punched in the mouth right now at this moment. It's more of a knockdown or a count to 10 right now after three losses in a row, especially to two teams you're really not supposed to lose to, in my opinion. You're not supposed to lose that Kansas game. You're definitely not supposed to lose that Syracuse game. So, like you said, I mean, I think with leadership, outside of Barnes being the head coach, if that happens and all of them in the locker room decide, hey, we're going to make sure this gets done and we're going to make sure if we lose the game, it's going to be because that team is better than us rather than we beating ourselves, things will turn around.
Yeah. Well, they've got to, especially when you've got a really good Louisville team on the horizon here. Tuesday night inside TBA, Tennessee's going to host a top 20, top 15 Louisville team. And they're top 10 Louisville team, really, for that matter. This is a group that's coming in at 8-1 on the season. Well, they do play Memphis on Saturday, I will note. So they're 8-1 right now. I imagine they still will be a one-loss team. I don't think Memphis is going to knock them off. But what jumps off the page to me about Louisville is they've got a lot of experience, man. They've got a lot of guys um, that have played a lot of college basketball. Kassan Pryor comes over from South Florida, sat out all of last year due to injury. I loved him on that South Florida team. Very well coached under Abdul Rahim when he was coaching that group. And that was a team that had Pryor and then Chris Youngblood, who's now with Thunder, but was last year with Alabama. Pryor's a really good player. Ali Khalifa, a guy that was at BYU for a good bit, he has plenty of college basketball experience. Ryan Conwell was a guy I loved last year at it was either Villanova or Xavier. I think it was Xavier. I loved him at Xavier last year. He was one of the top guys in the portal. We all know about Isaac McNeely,
Hooper.
a guy that should have been a Vol, really good shooter out of Virginia.
Yeah.
And then Michael Brown. Like we talk about all these really fascinating freshmen. Brown's another one. Like there are so many great players on this Louisville team, and it adds up why they are an 8-1 team, probably 9-1 heading into Thompson Bowling Arena. So I think the big thing going up against them is you're going to have to just key in on their scores, and they've got a lot of them is the issue. I'm not so as much worried about their depth down low. Because I think Khalifa is a little bit of Khalifa is an interesting player because he kind of plays around the perimeter, almost in like a Jokic role. And I don't want to compare him to Nikola Jokic, but I'm just like, this is a guy that roams around the court. Like, typically your center's down low, but like Khalifa can be a guy up top that, has the ball and is looking for roll offs and stuff like that. Non-traditional from what you see out of most college bigs, but staying in front of guys like Conwell, McNeely, Brown, Pryor, like that's going to be a tall task. And I think this is going to have to be Tennessee's best defensive game or mirror the type of defense they played against Houston to come out with a win here. Like, I think defense is the bigger thing. As much as offense we've been talking about, like, I think just forcing Louisville into tough shots and, winning the time of possession, winning the time on the glass, like, I think that's the way to approach this one because right now you have too many unknowns of what you can do offensively.
Okay. I'm going to say what I'm going to be looking at for this Louisville game, and I'm going to ask you the same thing. I
Okay.
think one thing I want to be looking at is, like you said, guard play. I think we're going to see a little bit more Amaree Abram this game because Amari is a really good wing defender. I'm not gonna lie. I saw it against Illinois when he came in. He came with some energy, and they're so deep at the guard position. They have three guys averaging over 12 points. We got a guy almost averaging 20 in Conwell, like you said. Brown Jr., we got him. I think he's averaging like 17 or 18. And then we got McNeely. He's averaging 12, 13. He's a really good three-point shooter. So I'm thinking we're going to see a little bit more guards out on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to see a little bit more Abram. I think Abram may be the first guy off the bench. What I'm thinking. Uh, I think the Vols being at home is just such a huge boost to them. Something about that home
Yeah.
crowd. 5-0 at home. Yes, lost three in a row. I say the last game we're losing two in a row, but I know for sure there's an emergency red button that's like the cap is off. The cap is off now. So, and I think they understand as well because we do, and we're not in the locker room. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they do understand that the cap is off. But one thing that sticks out to me that I looked at, the stats for the Vols and the Cardinals are literally almost identical, except points per game.
Mm-hmm.
Points against is about the same. Field goal shooting is about the same. They rebound the same. Assists per game is the same. Blocks per game, steals per game. All of these are like literally all nearly identical.
Yeah.
But the thing is, can Tennessee's defense stunt the Cardinals and their three-point shooting? And I think if Tennessee can stay ahead and, like you said, not get down by more than two or three possessions, stay ahead and let this home crowd carry you and give you
Mm-hmm.
that energy and feed
Mm-hmm.
you, I think Tennessee can do it. What are you looking for? What do you expect?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the home crowd definitely is going to play a factor into this one, and hopefully it's enough to help this team shoot a little bit better. There's nothing better than some home cooking. You mentioned Abram. I look at maybe some Amari Evans too.
Okay.
Maybe you get Amari Evans involved. Like at this point, you're kind of grasping for straws offensively. I haven't loved what I've seen from Evans when he's come in. Like he just looked kind of out of control all over the place. But like, what else do I work with right now? Like, I think Barnes and the staff is kind of in a situation where they're just trying to see something out of someone. we're like, okay, we can build off of that. So I totally agree with the home court advantage. I want to continue to see Abram. I like Abram. Again, I think he's your best secondary option in terms of, or a complementary performer that you've got on this roster on the perimeter right now, but maybe you get that out of Evans is what I'm kind of poaching for there. But I want to see if Gillespie can, file up the stat sheet again, man. Like it's been 3 games in a row. And I'm not like mad at him, but he's had some bad shooting performances. And I
Yeah,
think some of that is a product of the offense, but like I think at the end of the day, if you're going to be, a second weekend basketball team that we were talking about a month ago, or, over a month ago now, you're going to have Gillespie playing to that level again. So I think the big thing I'm looking for in the Louisville matchup, do you find that complementary performer, Amaree Evans, Amaree Abram? Who is it? Ja'Kobi Gillespie? Are you able to get back in the stat sheet as a scorer and do it so efficiently, going away from that 6 of 20 ledger you had against Illinois? And then, man, let's just see if Nate Ament can get something involved, man. Let's see if Nate Ament can get involved. And maybe that's changing the rotations as I projected, or as I'm proposing, I should say.
yeah.
Put him at the 4, see if you can get a better offensive system that way. You've got some really impactful big men down low, but I wouldn't go to that early. I'd see if you can get something from something else. You can always pivot back to those big men down low. So the crowd as well. You got to give the crowd an attribution in this one. They've got to be loud. They've got to make an impact, and hopefully they make it difficult for Louisville to shoot the ball.
Okay. Last question before we end. One stat that's going to make or break this game. What is it going to be?
I want to say rebounding because I want to say rebounding because Illinois misses a lot of shots, or it's gonna be Louisville misses a lot of shots. But Tennessee's already controlled the glass even in their
Yeah.
wins. Like you have a double digit loss, but you win the glass by 15 against Illinois.
Yeah.
I feel like the cop out answer is 3-point shooting. Like if you shoot, if you hold Louisville to poor shooting numbers and you shoot well, I mean what should I say, Jeremiah? What I don't see that's the thing. Like I don't know what I should want from this team because there's a lot. Like I want to say I'll go this. I was talking about how important the defense is in this game, so I'll lean with that. Field goal percentage.
Okay.
I think if
That's,
Louisville is hovering around that 30% mark, I think Tennessee gets it done.
wait, 30% from three or 30% from the
From the
field?
field, from the field.
Wow. Okay. Okay. You think that can be done though? That's something that's realistic.
I mean, what did Houston put up for that? I mean, like maybe not 30%, but like let's say anything from 40 to 30 is what I mean. Like because
Okay.
like Houston in that second half shot like
Yeah, they did shoot terrible. They shot
they
terrible.
shot like that's what I'm saying. Like you're gonna have to have that type of defensive performance is what I'm saying. Like this is a really good offense.
Okay. Yeah, they did shoot terrible in the second
Let,
half.
let's say 30 might be a stretch. I saw your eyes. I saw your eyes. I saw your eyes
Yeah.
widen. You're like,
I was
hold
like
on, man.
30. Yeah.
We'll go under 40. Anything under 40.
Okay. That's realistic.
Yeah, we'll go
That's
anything
realistic.
under 40. I don't know. I'm just sitting here wanting a really strong defensive performance, telling me 30. Because I'm also answering like what has to happen for Tennessee to win, and at this point,
Man,
I
yeah,
feel like it's Louisville
that is
shooting
true.
30%.
That is
So I'll
true.
say the number, the stat, or Louisville's got to shoot under 40% from the field. That would be my stat. What's yours?
It's like I feel like every game I answer this is turnover, so I'm gonna change it.
Okay.
Because Tennessee obviously is not listening to the pod and um I don't even think I would say stat. I think it's a specific person. I think Ja'Kobi Gillespie has to have one of those games where I say he needs to be in conversation with Brady Smith. You're at home, you're coming off of three pretty bad shooting games,
Mm-hmm.
and you show everybody why I said your name should be in one of the conversations, the best guard in the country, one of
Yeah.
the guards in the country. And I think, yes, I said him and Amy are the engine, but he's the real nucleus. It's really him. Hey, if Gillespie's going, he like, come on, guys, let's go. Like you said, the leadership thing. everybody else they'll do it. They'll follow.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure Nate will follow suit. Like, okay, Ja'Kobi's coming to play. Kobe's coming to play, so I got to play too. Amaree's gonna come in with energy. You already know JP's gonna come in with energy, and you know
Yeah.
Carey is as well because Carey he has that little monster, little animalistic scream that he does every time he like
Yeah.
finishes contact. So it's like with the home crowd advantage, Gillespie, can you regroup? You're at home. You know these rims better than anybody else in the country. Can you come back and show everybody why Tennessee deserves to be the team that's in the conversation for getting to where I predicted the team's
Hmm.
Elite Eight conversation? So yeah.
Well, real quick, we talked about Nate Ament being told he's not 100% right now. So he's got an ankle injury,
Hmm.
and it's not thought to be season ending or anything, but is not 100% right now, dealing with some ankle discomfort. So something to watch heading into Louisville, especially as we get a little bit closer to the game. Maybe, if he is ruled out or something like that, that would be obviously a big blow just in terms of the attention that he draws. But maybe that's a little bit of the reason why he's not been able to play up to the level that we expect. But Nate Ament right now, not 100%, something to watch for, and a little tidbit
The injury
for
bug
our,
has got the Vols, man.
yeah, a little tidbit for our listeners.
Yeah. Okay. Um, you know, Will's sources, his sources told him that. So yeah, that's definitely something we'll watch for. I mean, but hopefully he still fights through it and can finish the season. Because what Tennessee doesn't need is another season-ending injury. And I know for himself, he like, man, I got to get to the draft.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm trying to get to the draft this year, so
yeah.
yeah,
And
definitely
I, I
something to
and I,
look.
hope he's able to bounce back. Hope that's been a little bit of the reason why he hasn't been that good.
Yeah,
Or,
hopefully he
yeah,
drops 30 this game and like, man, my ankle been messed up, but I'm
yeah,
fighting through it.
yeah. That's the classic. Like, have a
Yeah,
good game, and you're like, well, I've just been nagging that injury, but now,
yeah,
now I feel a lot better.
yeah. I'm waiting on it for sure,
Yeah.
but we're looking forward to it. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back post Louisville sometime. Hopefully, it'll be a happy episode, and we don't have to come in like, yeah, negative thing. Yeah, the Vols they
That'd
did
be
this
be third
again.
one in a row we've been
Yeah,
negative.
that's enough, and that would be 4 losses in a row. And I don't know what this team will look like going into conference play with 4 losses. But I'm Jeremiah again. It's my co-host Will, my guy Will. So thanks for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know anything that you want us to talk about.